Good morning, guys, and welcome to today's channel and episode of Parental Advocacy. My name is Patricia, and I just want to welcome you. Make sure that you subscribe, share, comment to the video as well as the platform so that you are updated in regards to new and upcoming episodes that we're going to be doing in regards to the title of Parental Advocacy. So I'll do a brief disclaimer really quickly so you can understand. On this channel, this is a safe place for you to come and be uplifted and encouraged in regards to the avenue of parenting. Regardless if you are a parent at one point in time, and if you still do, you have parents. That is the vehicle in which God created for people to come into the earth. So I understand and I know at this point, at this moment, and not that it has not always been a subject that is on God's heart in regards to parenting. And so I am taking up the mission to use this platform and a lot of my personal experiences to help you understand, cope, transform into the parent that God has created you to be so that the next generation can thrive. So I just want to take a moment and welcome you. And so I've been just doing little subjects. And so this morning I got up, I did my workup, I got refreshed, and the title that was on or the subject that came to my heart was in regards to parental consecration. And so I'm going to dive a little bit more deeper into that and explain some components of what parental consecration is, actually starting from the avenue of consecration just in general and giving you some tips that can help you live in regards to being consecrated as a parent. And so, like I said, I got up this morning, I was working on the title, Parental Consecration came to my mind. So let's just talk about consecration really quickly. Consecration is a lifestyle. And so if you are a believer, if you're not, consecration is basically where God separates you from people and or things and or habits and or lifestyle that will ultimately bring separation to you and him and your relationship if you don't. So say for instance, if you're a believer and there are habits and hobbies that you partake in before you fully got devoted to God, God may say, consecrate yourself unto me and come away from those things and those habits and those people that create that feeling that you don't want to serve God 100% or you don't want to obey God. Basically, living an unconsecrated life will cause you to get into things that you shouldn't be in. It will cause you to disobey God. It will cause you to live outside of the covenant of God. So consecration is basically the lifestyle where you're honoring the fact that you have decided to come into a personal relationship with God. Therefore, where he tells you to go or not to go, you don't. People that he tells you to cut off or disassociate with, you obey. Habits that he's told you to let go of, or if you're in the process of any of these, you are willing to obey because you know at the end of the day, it is going to be beneficial to your relationship with God, not to hold on to the things, not to hold on to the people or the habits, but to let them go. And so it talks about it in the Bible, how we walk a straight and narrow path. And it also talks about how broad is the way. But when you walk a narrow path, narrow means that there are not many people that are going to be on that path with you. At times it can feel very lonely. However, on that path, it is a path that will keep you aligned to God. So you are never alone because God is always with you. So when it comes to consecrated or a consecrated lifestyle, you are not doing everything that everybody is doing. You are not aligning your life to the world or to what cultural norms say if God is not in those things. And we know that God is not in the world, meaning that he's not going to tell us to do things that the world partakes in, meaning he's not going to tell us to live unrighteously or live unholy or do things where people can't tell like, oh, they're different. Because that's what a consecrated lifestyle is. You are different. You are unique. You are branded by God in order to be an ambassador in this earth. And a lot of times when you do not live a consecrated lifestyle, you do not walk in the level of authority and power and confidence and faith that you could when you are consecrated. So now that we have explained that, let's take the consecration into our parenting style, which leads me deeper into the content that we're talking about, which is parental consecration. So everybody knows once a parent, let's just say a mother has a baby, there's a time after she has that child, which will rightfully should also be connected to the father, where they take time to bond with the baby, nurture the baby, keep the baby protected. We know it's a very sensitive time also for their immunity system, so everyone is not allowed into that time and into that space. It is also the same thing when the mother goes into labor and delivery. All the people that were probably there before are not allowed in the labor and delivery room. It is a very consecrated or separated or isolated spot. And so if you think about these two areas where you're laboring and you're delivering, and then after you have the baby, very, very separate from people. You can't do a lot. You can't go many places. You're still a little bit sore. You're still a little bit tender from the actual pregnancy, laboring. It can be exhausting. And so, oftentimes, in order to protect your baby and yourself, you come away from things and people so that you can have the peace that you need in order to gun with the child. That is the birthing experience. And trust and believe everybody's experience is different, and some people's are extremely and more difficult and traumatic than others. Trust me, I know. But if you think about parenting, and if you think about a child, if you think about being a parent, this is the same thing. When you're a parent, you can't always go where you want to go. You can't always do what you want to do. You can't always entertain and have the friendships that you think are beneficial to your life if they do not align to the security and the health and the happiness of being a parent. And this is something that took me an extremely long time to know and understand. As a parent, it is my responsibility to make sure that I'm keeping myself in a place that is mentally refreshing, mentally secure, for the safety and environmental factors that will ultimately impact or affect or influence my daughter's behaviors, outputs, and thoughts, and just her overall upcoming, right? And so, if I could be 100% honest, this was not something that I learned as a child. We were, our house was open. There were always a lot of people there. And so, when I became a mom, I didn't understand the importance of not having so many people around. Now, do not misunderstand me. There, we do not have frequent flyer miles, meaning there are not a lot of people that come in and out of my house. We do not have a lot of traffic that enters in and out of my house. I don't go a lot of places. And at first, I thought like, okay, this is awkward. Why would I not have a village? Why would I not have a lot of people around? And now this helps me understand that parents are meant to live consecrated lifestyles, because everybody that you invite into your life is not supportive of your parenting or your parenting structure. I have even come into the understanding that not only are people not supportive, that they will do things to help destroy your very parenting style, your passion for parenting, your desire to be a good mother or a father. And so when God is telling us as parents to let certain people go, let certain jobs go, don't do this or don't do that, it is because He is trying to not only consecrate us to Him as our Heavenly Father, He's also trying to consecrate us to our children so that we can be a safe place for them to come, that they may be able to open up and be vulnerable and have the security of knowing that my mom is there for me, my dad is present for me. And I noticed that when you don't live a consecrated lifestyle, there are so many things that could come in and come out and that happen. Um, it's one of probably the number one reasons that a lot of children that have already been abused or mistreated or neglected or abandoned, because someone infiltrated, someone was able to get in the house and literally cause chaos inside the house. And sometimes the parents aren't even aware until the children become way older, and then they're finally able to disclose, this happened to me in the house, this happened when we visited this person, this happened when this person came and spent the night and it was your company, this happened when you went out of town and you left me with these people. You know what I mean? And listen, this is not a channel to judge or condemn it or convict you, because I don't have any conviction to give you. If you get conviction, it is literally going to be because it's from God. It will not be from me. But I can honestly tell you that as a kid, there were a lot of things that happened to me and took place in my life. And I know and understand it was because my parents didn't understand the importance of consecration. And it goes even deeper when you are a parent that's chosen, like God has chosen you to do something great and mighty, and then even more um, deeper when you have a child that is chosen, that is meant to do something great, awesome, and amazing in the world. Consecration is not a form; it is protection. Consecration is the ability to know the difference between, okay, I probably shouldn't hang out with that person, because when I do hang out with them, I start feeling like I don't want to be a parent. I don't want to be around my kids. I want to go out. I want to have fun. I want to just live my life. And that's just an example of, I noticed that when I interact with certain people, and it can literally be just in a moment, in an instant, and I say, okay, this is not a person that I could be around, because parenting for me is a priority. Now, please do not misunderstand me. We understand that there is not a perfect parent. And that is another reason for this platform, because with me giving you the insight that God has breathed in my spirit, He wants you to have grace and understand, no, we are not perfect people. We are striving for perfection. There are not any perfect parents, but you can strive to be perfected in the areas that you are struggling in, or the areas that you're having difficulty in. And that's another reason with it for this platform. I want to encourage you and uplift you and help you to understand that there are certain things that are pivotal when you become a parent. It is about priority. And even I understand that when I did become pregnant, I knew, like, okay, this is probably not a friendship that I'm gonna want to be around, around my child, because you can always tell, like, when kids get older, they'll say, well, my mom had this friend, and they'll give their story, and it was because of the friend or the boyfriend or the girlfriend, or even aunts and uncles and cousins. Sometimes you can't even be around your family when it comes to parenting. But that is not to say that these people are horrible people. It is literally for the sake of understanding that sometimes you have to do the separation, so that when your children get older, they are aware and able to see, okay, when I was a kid, I didn't hang around this stuff, and we didn't do this. Now, I could be the light and I could be the example, but I'm not going to dive in and immerse myself in that, because I remember as a kid, certain examples and foundational principles that I put up, and that my mom and dad put up in my life, showed me that I shouldn't be around this, and I shouldn't be around that, and I shouldn't be doing this, I shouldn't be doing that. Now, don't get me wrong, because some kids are definitely going to try it. This is oftentimes what learning or experience does. It breeds wisdom. But at the end of the day, if we can be the parents that they need to give the example that they need in a positive way, so that they don't follow down paths of destruction that have literally been walked on by us as their parents, I think the example will do a monumental amount in regards to influencing them to choose certain paths. And if we could be honest, a lot of paths that children take is because they have saw their parents do it. And when their parents was doing it, of course, children learn by what they see. So if they're seeing their parents doing, sometimes they don't have that mental capacity to decipher between wrong and right. But we want to set our children up for success, so that when they get older, they can have that structure to discern, okay, we didn't do this. And because we didn't do this, it doesn't feel right for me to be doing it, because I never done it before. It's making me feel awkward. So we're giving them the confidence to know that they can trust themselves by how we live our lives. And so I just want you to think about this for a little while. Are you living a consecrated lifestyle? First, is your life consecrated to God? If God tells you not to do something, or not to go somewhere, entertain something, are you able to listen? Because that's going to affect you as a person. But a lot of times God is telling you, forewarning you and unctioning you not to do certain things, because it's also going to impact your child. So my question is, are you consecrated to God? If you're consecrated to God, it is going to help you in your consecration, in your role as a parent. It's going to help you fulfill your role as a parent. And the last example that I do want to give, and I do want to talk about, if you look at Mary and Joseph, when Jesus was about to come into the earth, God sent them into consecration. He actually relocated them and moved them to a different place, and moved them out of the vicinity of danger. So consecration is also a component of being protected from danger, because please understand me, the enemy roams the earth to and fro seeking who he can devour, and he is not biased to children. Actually, he loves to get a hold of a vulnerable, innocent child so that he can manipulate and annihilate who they are as a child so they'll never sprout up into the strong trees that they are meant to be as adults. So, this is also a plea for you as a parent to be conscious and recognize that God will use anybody that he can to get to your child. And we, as these beacons of and fortitude, pillars of fortitude, are meant to consecrate our lives unto God that our children may be protected. And yes, I understand sometimes you may miss it, you may not always get it right, but the ultimate goal is to be consecrated to God so that he can talk to you and deal with you so that you can be a parent that is consecrated. So thank you so much for tuning into today's broadcast episode segment of parental advocacy. I do have other videos that are available, one talking about soft parenting and just other content that I'm just building on in this new mission and assignment that God has me in. But listen, if you are a parent or you have a desire to become a parent, please understand you are loved, you are seen, and you are heard. God has you on his mind, and he is concerned about you as his child, while he is also concerned about your child. So thank you so much. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content at a later date. Bye, guys.